Yeah, as we continue to sort the inquiries that are coming back to us from what we are doing in implementation of the Constitutional Force Majeure, some of the recurring questions and requests for clarifications, I think in this broadcast, we need to take on some of them so that our people can be clear. What is the first observation we can make or we can share is that most of the people who are asking these questions have not read that Constitutional Force Majeure proclamation. Even the 5 points of proposition, towards the end of it, will bring more than half of them out of the kind of confusion that has enveloped their minds. So we continue to appeal, we continue to plead. Let us use the education we have. We have an existential threat that is being addressed by this intervention. The least we can do is to at least, using our education, because the folks in the countryside, in the homeland, who may not have as much education and exposure as we have, the least we can do is to acquaint ourselves with what exactly is NINAS saying should be done, what is being done, so that we can become the conduit for dissemination to those who may not be as privileged as we are, to be able to read and understand at the level of what was done. Having said that, there are three, there are three of the questions and requests that are recurring. The first is several people are saying, oh, why can't we go to court? Some even say, let's go to international court. Some say, let's go to court in Nigeria to, insist on these things. Well, what we needed to do in court had been done since 2007 when we went after the Pronaco consensus was reached for how we could retrieve our sovereignties through the process we initiated. We went to court in 2007 to commence a formal onslaught against that constitution, because our contention is that we did not make the Constitution as claimed. Our signature was planted illicitly on a document of damnation against us, meaning that we're the ones that authorized our own expropriation, we're the ones that authorized our own, damnation as we have seen in the document. And so in that suit of 2007, where plaintiffs like Nohoro and Choinkano, Juku, and all of the others, were part, we simply, the document was defeated even from that point, because the Attorney General of Nigeria joined issues with us. We challenged the legitimacy of the Constitution, and we furnished, the basis of our contention. The Attorney General of Nigeria, on behalf of the President and the government that we were, he joined issues with us, and he basically admitted our case in saying that he had nothing to say because we were able to show what defeats the document itself is the decree number 24 that tells the story of how the document came, different from what was claimed in the preamble. It's as simple as that. And with what the Attorney General did, we could say the document died there. Even the court could not help them. And from that point on, we had done what we needed to do in court, because at law, any document that is a forgery on the face of it, whatever it confers in terms of benefit to anybody is immediately terminated. You go and get a document of a forged document, or maybe a title deed, which is what the Constitution is over the whole country. That's the title deed by which the Fulani is now laying claim to owning the whole country. You saw when Obasanjo was rebuking the Ijaw people that the oil and gas in their place is no longer their own, because Nigeria's Constitution say it belongs to federal government. It's on the basis of that Constitution that the ports of Lagos now belong to federal government, who hands it over to Dangote. It's on behalf of that Constitution, it's on account of that Constitution, that the limestone of Benue now belongs to federal government, who also hands it over to Bua Cement and Dangote to go and own. The Intels in Port Harcourt, the port there, and all kinds of things. It's on account of that Constitution that the what's it called? The right to touch arms is exclusive to federal government, whereas the people who have to suffer, who are being killed by the invaders from across our international borders in the sub-region are able to carry arms. And so it is just a question of having established, having shown on the face of the document itself. We didn't travel outside the Constitution. We just showed the court what the author wrote in decree number 24, Absalom Abaka. We showed the court what the author wrote as how he came about the document and what they claimed in the preamble as how the document came. It became a mutually exclusive situation because the one of decree 24 was the one they gazetted. Everybody, the diplomatic community has it, that the story of how they came was that they formed a committee headed by Nikki Toby that went around to hotels and sat with whoever they invited to the place. The meeting that will become, let people understand it so that they can know the basis of what is being done and what is being said. The reason the case in court in 2007 comprehensively defeated that constitution was that we situated everything within the ambit of law and jurisprudence. Everybody could see that it was simply to compare the facts of how the document came and the claim in the preamble of how it came. One was true, the other one was false. The one that was true is decree number 24 that told the story. I'm sure some of us read in Guardian newspaper where Absalom Abaka was being interviewed about how he corroborated everything contained in the document of how they formed committee and the committee came back and they adopted the 1979 edition as what most people wanted. The meeting that could, the discussion that will become constitution is exclusively the preserve of the constituent units that could be countries of their own. There's no other person like the memo and articles of a company. Only the owners of the company, the people who are putting themselves and their assets at risk, are the ones who have to decide the contents of their memo and articles. Nobody else. It's not the management they hired, which is the position of the government in all the time of thing. And so the contention of Absalom Abubakar, that the people that did it are also, as much as that there was no soldier among them. The important thing is, have you invited the owners of the sovereignties, like section 14.2a of that constitution stipulates? As bad as it is, it at least admits that sovereignty belongs to the peoples of Nigeria, from whom this the government, through this constitution, derives all its powers and authority. I'm quoting that section now, and I repeat. It says, sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria, from whom government, through this constitution, derives all its powers and authority, full stop. And so, if that is the case, it is simply saying that sovereignty belongs to the Yoruba, to the Ijo, to the Igbo, to the Ogoni, to the Beron, to the chief, everybody according to their plot, according to the land they are bringing into the union. And so, it is on account of that sovereignty that they will have to agree to form a union and then to define the workings of that union. That's why in the preamble they now said, we the people, having solemnly resolved to live in unity as one indivisible country, do hereby make and give unto ourselves the following constitution. So the false claim in that preamble is defeated by decree number 24 that told the story of Nikki Toby that went around the hotel places to discuss with passers-by. No meeting outside the constituent, the sovereign constituent components that could be countries of their own, submitting themselves by clear discussion into the union, like we saw between 1951 and 1959 in Lancaster House. That was what they were doing at the time. Units that could be, the regions that could be countries of their own, going to agree that there will be one political union, one federation on account of regional autonomy they defined very clearly. So we abandoned all of that and we came to where soldiers were sending their friends to go and meet in hotels, and then they say they've decided for all of us. That's what we are rejecting. And that claim that we the people is now crediting the constituent components who have been slaughtered across Nigeria now by these invaders who imposed that constitution. That preamble is crediting the authorship That's the title deed that constitution represents to the constituent, to the owners of Nigeria, to the indigenous nationalities of Nigeria, who are supposed to have made the constitution, but who have never been invited to, who have never been allowed to even make any kind of contribution to the contents of the document, their union agreement. And so, those who are saying let's go to court, we went to court in 2007 and we succeeded 100% because the Attorney General of the Federation of Nigeria came to join issues with us in court and admitted our case. He said that all we have invited the court to do was interpret, in comparison, some kind of comparing the claim in the preamble with the decree number 24 that was printed in error. That is where God freed us from this madness called Nigeria. But our people are not listening, and they are hitting from pillar to post, breaking their heads, breaking their arms, waving flag, doing all the wrong things, leaving that one avenue of escape that had been there since the Constitution came in 1999. If our people had listened to us, even now, it won't take more than 6 months to get rid of that Constitution and the Union it forced on us. But they're not listening, as if they're under spell. And so, those who are talking about, some say, let's go to international court. The jurisdiction of the International Criminal Court is limited to, crime against humanity and things of genocide and all of that. It doesn't, there's no court there that is waiting for you to come to say, I want to be Biafra Republic or Odua Republic. It doesn't exist. The ones in Nigeria, there's no court in Nigeria that's going to, before I saw there was one that happened in Owo, where the Biafra franchise proprietors wanted to mimic. We were going to court, and they also went to court to say Nigeria should give them Biafra. With no, it was just a ridicule. It was just a ridicule. And they came to the end of it and dispersed. It was just a mess. The same thing we have seen in the Ekiti court now, where people went to file, on behalf of the Yoruba, say they are challenging the legality of the Constitution. That was an illiterate, position to take. That was an illiterate contention. That was a mediocre, by mediocre, lawyers. It is not the legality of the Constitution that is in question. It is the legitimacy. If you go to say legality, and that was exactly what Dr. Tunji Abayomi and co. did at the time the Constitution came in 1999. They went to court to challenge the legality. Of course, Kelsey's theory, lawyers will understand what I'm talking about now. The Kelsey's theory met with them, and the matter was thrown out before it settled in a few weeks. The matter was thrown out. Has anybody tried to bother to find out why the suits we filed was not thrown out? 2007, there was even a sister suit in 2009 in the Lagos Division of the same Federal High Court. So why did they throw out the suit of Tunji Abayomi and co. in 1999 and throw out the suit of the one that went to Ekiti the other day? It was because they didn't establish the ground of any ground upon which they can come before the court. So when we try to reach out to some of our colleagues who have been the other day, it was Abakoba and co. that went to the court in Abuja to file for a 50 billion naira compensation or damage against something that was not justiciable. Something that was being that Buhari was appointing only his kinsmen, and therefore the rest of the people went to court to say that provision of the Constitution under which they were making that challenge is in Chapter 2. That Chapter 2 is nullified by Section 6 or Section 6C that says everything contained in Chapter 2, those provisions for equity, those provisions for welfare and security, are not, no court can entertain your complaint if you say the government is not doing that. So the government does not owe you any obligation at all, including for security and welfare, including for equal treatment, including for social services. They don't owe you any obligation. It's in black and white inside the Constitution. Why would lawyers then go on behalf of people who do not know to court to say they're going to enforce some of those provisions in that chapter 2 of the Constitution, which was the basis of the suit that was filed for 50 billion in Abuja by Abakoba and the others. So it is baffling to it's baffling to me personally that we will have all of these things, so laid out on the table, and the lawyers in the land are going up and down, deceiving people because they're interested in electoral, INEC election has happened, election petition, or EFCC has discovered other corruption. They'll be carrying money between judges to settle corruption with the EFCC. So unfortunately, that is what seems to be of more interest to them. So the question of let's take the matter to court, what we need in court we have achieved. The Attorney General of Nigeria said that he had nothing to say. That was what he filed in court. And the judge could not even help them. They only began to, postpone and postpone. But what we need to enforce the situation is just like the forged check. Your check somebody takes to court to try to cash money. Takes to bank to try to cash money. If you didn't sign the check, and for some reason you came by yourself to that, bank, and now discovered maybe your staff, somebody who has access to where you keep the check, and who probably have been going to withdraw money, on with the bank people, he can scribble the signature that looks like your own, and the bank people, knowing that he comes from you, used to pay him money. On a day you now come, you didn't sign that check, and he has presented it to be paid money. If you come to say, Haba, I didn't make this check, is that all the end of the transaction? Do you need a court judgment? You need a court pronouncement for the consequences of that criminality to proceed? That's exactly the status of the Constitution of Nigeria as at now, from the time we raised that challenge, that we, the people, did not make this Constitution. That document died that time. The only thing is that the people who are suffering from it are refusing to listen. And every 4 years, they go and validate all of the operation of it. They've never come to say, why are you saying this? They've never found that the government that is relying on that, because they say the sovereignty belongs to the people, from whom government, through the government that has been drawing powers and raising budgets and spending money, killing people, doing all kinds of things in the name of that Constitution. We only need to organize ourselves and stop them in the manner we can stop them. We don't need anybody's permission to exercise our sovereignty. Our sovereignty is inalienable. It's not dependent on whether they agree with us or whether National Assembly, those things are things being done out of ignorance. That National Assembly is the one to, the mandate of National Assembly is limited to lawmaking, doesn't extend to constitution making. Because some people say, oh, will National Assembly agree? No. Oh, we did not agree. We don't have to talk to them. Our sovereignty ties to our land. Yoruba land begins and ends somewhere. Ijaw land begins and ends somewhere. They don't need, if they want to talk among themselves, that's all right. But if, in terms of going to seek permission from Abuja or from whoever is in Sokoto that is not contiguous to that, nobody needs the permission of his neighbor to take his portion out of a fraudulent, something that is anchored on a plain forgery. Because that constitution becomes a forgery to the extent that we didn't make it. We don't need any court pronouncement. Why we went to court was just to formally bring it before the global community that our union has been hijacked and they have placed a forged title document under which they are doing all of what they're doing against us. We have woken up now to disown that signature, and it was the enforcement of that collective action of repudiating that constitution that we commenced on the December 16th, 2020. If our people will listen to us, like I said before, it should not take more than 6 months to enforce this consensus against that constitution for its fraudulent basis. Then we come to the other frequently suggested, some are talking about the referendum. For instance, the referendum that NINAS is talking about will be mandated by the UN Security Council. There are many things. 80% of what we are doing is not in the public space. Those who are interested in the outcome, in becoming free of this union of debt, should at least they can reach the people who are driving it. Everybody knows where to find who from their part are involved, because from every part there are people you can talk to who are involved in the process. It's not on the social media, on the internet, or some just general beer parlor talk. No. There was reason we had to go to the UN far back since after Pronaco in 2006, we began to find ways to make sure that what we are doing will result in something concrete, something that can be enforced. And so the referendum we're talking about is not the one Abuja will conduct or INEC will conduct. I hear some people asking people to go and get PVC, that if it comes to referendum, even, that it is that same PVC. The referendum for our regional self-determination will not be conducted by INEC or Nigeria. It will be something that will be mandated by the UN so that it can be enforced by them when we're done with it. It is in process. It doesn't matter all of the people who are doing opinion poll to say some people went and lied to their own people, just like IPOB was doing. They went and lied to their people that the UN asked them to get 5 million signatures, and therefore once they get it, they can go and print their currency and print their passport and declare independence. All the people who are saying this are in the safety of their abodes, some across the Atlantic, some outside, on the continent of Africa, but not inside Nigeria. And they are acting now. They even went ahead, in May, I think it was May 26th or 27th, to declare that they've attained the 5 million signatures, and therefore they're going to now assume control of their place. They are printing currency and launching, international passport they will issue of Yoruba, national nation, whatever. And so these are the kind of things going on. And in the safety of their abodes outside Nigeria, they are saying things now. They say the countries of the world, the US, Canada, and all the countries of the world who are supposed to finalize what they need to do to be recognized, they say they don't need a referendum at all, that it is only a matter of recognition. They are seeking recognition, and that countries that should really do that for them are putting finishing touches. I tell you, so that nobody will say that NINAS misled anybody, because some of the people leading that campaign are people who have been associated with NINAS, but they've gone their way since late 2021, doing all kinds of crazy things. And now, this one in which they say they have left Nigeria and therefore issuing their currency, and that the countries of the world are about to recognize them. They are playing from the root, they're operating from the same playbook that IPOB used to declare Biafra Republic so many times, and got so many people killed in eastern Nigeria, still being killed. If the people in Ibadan, if the people in Malaysia now believe that all of that had happened, and that that the countries of the world have finished discussion with their leaders, and they begin to do certain things, it will result in the same kind of thing we've seen in the East. Why are we plunging our people into, why are we impeding this task all the more? Because what we need to finish, what we set out to do from beginning, is just here to be done. Why do you go to set your roof on fire in this kind of a situation where we are working as an alliance to take down the monster and free all the constituent captives? There is no road, so to say, in local parlance. In that place, they are going, and it will end in disaster if it's not well managed. Those who want to understand, those who want to probe these things that have been said now, our contacts are there. You can go to the website and make contact so that we can explain and show you what is being done wrong. We've issued public statements concerning those things when they were happening. I believe that a word should be enough for the wise, because when the blood shed that could come from the kind of gamble that is being taken now comes, it will be in the space of those who ignited it, like we're seeing in the eastern Nigeria now. And I think there's one last one. I think we can just take the trouble. The use we can put our education to is go find out exactly what was proposed, find out exactly where it is. There's nothing we're doing that is hidden. Everything we're doing is on the table. The ones that are not for public consumption yet, if you make inquiries, you'll be shown. And so why do we create confusion? Thank you for listening.